he was actually the guy. Proof.
Oh. Actually, I cannot explain more because my English is not good. But I want to invite someone who
Okay.
know well. 미국에서 하워드도 괜찮아.
Got the backup.
Sorry?
What?
Oh, speakers corner. People come, they talk,
Okay.
and it's filmed. There's discussion. This park is very famous.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's your question? What is your
Yeah.
question?
So my question
You
is.
can answer also.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Sorry, we met once long ago, wasn't it?
Did we?
Here?
I don't think so.
No, maybe it was someone else.
Maybe it was another brown guy.
Yeah. My family's from Iran originally.
Okay.
Your family's from Pakistan originally.
Yes, they are.
We're
Yeah.
neighbors. But I was born here and I worked in Russia and I studied in America. My wife's Filipino.
Okay.
And I met these people in South Korea.
Fantastic. So
Too many countries, sorry.
So we were conversing with them, and they were telling me about Korean Jesus,
Yes.
and
Oh.
yeah. So and they were saying, I think there was a bit of a barrier with regards to the English, and I was asking, look, what's the evidence that somebody that identifies as a Korean Jesus came? How much was the following? How can we determine the evidence of if he was followed, what teachings he came with? And then that's when they wanted a bit of assistance. So I think that's where we are roughly.
Okay, that's interesting. Korean Jesus is whoa, that's a whole different level.
Is there a Korean Jesus? Or was there a Korean Jesus?
I think we're talking about the. Okay, let's rewind
Okay.
because I don't know what's been said. So what I do know is that there's a unification movement in Korea. Maybe their leader was the one that started. That's what we're talking
Who they're
about.
saying was incarnation of Jesus, Jesus' second coming, and he was born in Korea, hence the term Korean Jesus.
Okay. I've had these discussions before.
Right.
And what I understood is that every family should be a true parent. There should be a true father and a true mother. That's what I understood they're saying. And they're saying
I
that...
don't know what that means, but because they were talking about the second coming of Jesus,
Yes.
so that's where that was the interesting part of the conversation. That
Alright.
you believe Jesus has come back again,
Yes.
Oh, yes.
which
Okay.
they do.
Yeah.
And then my question was, where did he come? And you said Korea.
Yes.
And then I said, okay,
Wow.
so it's Jesus that came. So you don't believe that?
I believe that we need true parents. We should be true parents in our families.
No, I get that, but
Yeah.
do you believe that Jesus came in
So
Korea?
I came from a different background. I'm very different background.
So he doesn't believe that, I think.
No. I'll tell you. I'll tell you what I believe. Because my family is from Iran, as I said, and I was born in England. So I come from a very different way of looking at it, honestly. So I believe that we need true families, true parents.
Of course, we need a mother and a father.
Yes.
Of course.
And then, so it starts with Adam and Eve. So Adam and Eve would have been true parents. I think that's what I believe. That's how it was
Well,
explained.
we're on the same page with this one.
Yeah. That just in parentheses, just to say that's completely not what we were doing today at all.
Okay.
Because there was some people being imprisoned in Japan, and we just said let's support this. Freaking
Aha, that's what
so
I
it's
think.
completely different.
Right,
That's why I was a bit whoa.
Okay, I got you.
So
I didn't see the back of her shirt.
But I'll talk about this in as much as you want. If you really want, we can meet. But just to get that into the quickly. So what happened was we had a lot of Japanese people who were volunteering many years.
We will speak about that, but because we had a
don't want
productive
to
conversation
okay.
and it developed over time,
Okay.
if we now jump to a tangent, it's like we've abandoned this
Let's
conversation.
not abandon it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't
So
wanna-
I think she wanted assistance with regards to this.
Okay.
We can come to that afterwards because
Yes.
we've already started this discussion.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to
Very
speak
deep.
about it. I don't know if you want to or you don't.
Okay. So we talk about true parents.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So say what you want to say.
What is your question again?
So I was asking with evidence with regards to if the Korean Jesus can actually be measured and if there's any evidence that we can see if he is actually who he claims he is. And then that's when you said, okay, because of your language, you wanted to call someone else. So we've reached the point of Korean Jesus, which I don't know if he exists, he doesn't exist.
But you can say more deeply. Say what you want to say.
About Korean Jesus.
I just want evidence. If you believe that Jesus came in Korea, how do we know that he was who he claimed he was. What's the evidence to claim that he was indeed Jesus, incarnated as this Korean individual? No, but
I can say something which I know, but okay, I have to shift over a bit. I was trying to do something else.
well, this is speaker
So
corner.
what,
You're
what,
gonna
I,
have
what,
to-
I, what I know
Yeah.
is that this is the concept I understood from cooperating for quite a while now, is that there was supposed to, Adam and Eve were supposed to have a family. That family was supposed to start all the families. This is what God wanted in the beginning to create the world. I'm trying to explain the concept as clearly as I
Just so I don't interject later on. Do you believe this, or you're just explaining their belief, which is separate to yours?
I think it's the same belief, but
We're same.
Okay.
yeah, I think it's the same belief, but just anyway, let's see. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
It's the same thing. So that's what I understand.
Right.
Is that it's
I got that. Adam and Eve,
yeah.
they were parents. They were true parents.
True.
They were fantastic. Great.
They should have, but something went wrong in the beginning of history, and we have lots of problems, right?
Aha. What went wrong?
So what went wrong is exactly what needs a lot of discussion, right? I think
Were they true parents, though?
they could have been,
What do you mean? What's the probability of the could or could not?
because I think human beings are given freedom and choice by God. So God didn't make human beings force them to be evil, but I think we have a human being responsibility. So I think we can't blame God if the world is evil, because humans made it evil, right? Humans actually created the evil. The arrogance, or the murder, or the stealing, or the irresponsibility, everything from
So
human
they
beings.
weren't. When you say they weren't true parents, I'm just trying to understand what you mean by that.
So what I was going to talk about was in the original ideal,
Yes.
because God is good, and I believe God is
All good or good?
absolute good, source of goodness and love.
All
and
good.
everything.
That he can't do bad.
God is the source of goodness. God is,
Okay.
yeah, I think, and it's difficult to talk about God intellectually because we're limited, but I think God wouldn't predestine badness. That's my personal belief. In other words, God would not force evil on human beings.
When you say your personal belief, like,
And I think this is the same belief.
So FFS, yeah.
FFWPU, Peace, Family Federation for World Peace.
I
So you
think-
said this is your religion, yeah?
Yes.
Kind
This is
of.
your religion?
I don't know. I don't call it a religion for me, honestly.
Okay.
It's my
Getting a
beliefs.
bit confusing.
But it's my beliefs.
Okay,
So-
you belief in religion.
my,
Okay, got you.
my beliefs is that God, I think we have a lot of common beliefs actually.
Of course.
So God doesn't force people to be evil. It could have been good. I think this is the crucial point, that God is good and could have been good, but human beings did the evil. This is what my understanding is. So maybe it seems like a small minor point. Anyway, the world is evil, history's been evil, there's been bad people.
How would you, if I was to ask you your belief, like the belief of this movement, how would you give me a summary of the belief? For example, if you ask a Muslim, we believe there's none worthy of worship besides God, and Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the final messenger of God. That's a summary. There are 5 pillars: Shahada, the declaration of faith; Salah, praying 5 times a day; Zakat, giving obligatory charity if you hit the Nisab level; and then Saum, fasting in the month of Ramadan; and obligatory pilgrimage. So I can summarize it all.
in
like
these
here-
actions.
Yeah, in these actions, in these principles,
Yeah.
however you want to say it. So if I was to say to you that as somebody that's coming across this religion for the first time,
Right.
how would you give me a synopsis or a summary that we can kind of bounce off from?
But I think
Summary, I can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Summary, I already speak about Jesus. He will come again, and then he will came already from Korea. He is Son Myung-moon, and his wife is Haksa Han-moon, right? And then,
Okay. I must fix that, sir.
not I can summarize like exactly, but we have a
Freedom of
divine principle.
Do you need him to help you? Because
Now it's okay.
he's giving a different story to yours.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
yeah?
yes, remember, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I will double check with him.
Yeah.
So it'll help. So
Oh,
just
sorry,
summarize.
didn't listen.
Yeah, because so you're saying there was Jesus.
Yes.
Just I don't want to.
Jesus,
Yeah.
Jesus came India already.
In the earth already?
But he's passed away now.
He's passed away, and his grave
wife
is in.
still alive.
His grave is in Korea,
Yeah, she's from Korea.
and he is from
Korea.
Korea as well.
Yeah.
His grave is in Korea, yeah?
From Korea, right?
Grave.
He's buried,
Buried.
like in the ground after passed away.
Yes, he is.
Okay, okay. But his wife is still alive.
Yes.
What is she regarded as? A prophet or a religious leader?
Yes, religious leader, and she wants to try to speak about heavenly parents. I told you, right? Heavenly
Yes.
parents, God is parent. That's why she announced everyone to know heavenly parents. God is heavenly parents.
So just one second. You know when she says parents, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm assuming that there is a father and a mother. Yeah, two people, like you said, Adam and Eve, they make parents. You're using the plural, correct?
But for God, he doesn't mean God is just one, right? God is one, right?
God
Yeah.
is one, but
I think she was just making a mistake.
Right. Then how does that fit in the divine parents theology of yours? If he's only one, how does he fill in the definition of heavenly parents?
I think you should say heavenly parent.
yeah.
Parent one.
Yeah.
Then
Yes,
he's
yes.
incomplete then, yeah?
Why?
Because if parents by definition is a male and a female, a husband and a wife, mother and a father, and God is only the father, then my question would be, where is the mother?
So I think if you went deep in that philosophy, it would say God is the unified, God is the source of everything. So all the masculinity in the world comes from God, and all the femininity in the world was created by God. So everything
Would you
comes from
assign a
God.
gender to him? Or would you say he's
Not really.
neither father nor mother?
I wouldn't assign a gender, no.
So he's not father or mother?
He's the source of all the parental emotions that you
Do you
Yeah,
believe he-
heart of mother and father.
Heart. So
Heart
when,
of father.
so
and
Christians,
parent.
Christian
I like
calls
this conversation.
Christian calls God Father. Do you also call God Father?
Yes, father. Also,
Why don't-
sometimes I say mother.
Aha. Do
It's
you say
really-
mother as well?
Not really, but but you see, that's why, because you said it's a religion. That's why I feel I have to just to be open with
Be
you.
open, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's many different kinds of people in this big movement. Some
Yes.
people have it as a religion,
Aha.
but some people are just have their own religion, but they're just volunteering to help a peace organization.
Aha. Okay.
So I think,
So you can have your own religion and be part of the humanitarian side
yeah,
of this thing.
exactly.
Would you say you're part of the religion or the humanitarian side?
You see, this is my problem. I think as I grew up, as I grew older and older, I started to feel that God is one for the whole world. I
Yeah.
started feeling like
Yeah.
that. And I felt God is more than me. So if I
Agreed.
feel sorry for Africans, or if
Yes.
I feel sorry for someone in the other part of the world,
Or Japanese?
or Japanese,
Yes.
today we're helping
Yes.
the poor guy. From
Pick up
31
Japan.
years old to 43 years old, he was kept by his parents in the house because
Yes.
they didn't agree with his religion. So we're saying that's
not
that's
good.
not in the modern world anyway. It's not
Yeah.
the norm or standard, and
Yeah.
we should allow freedom of belief. But I think as I've gone through the years, we change. I think if I meet someone from the mystical side of Islam, for example, I feel a lot in common with them because we're talking about Islam before. You mentioned Islam.
Yes.
And I try not to strictly. I try to see the good in people and try to cooperate with their good side. So if they might have a bad side, I can't do anything about how they grew up. or
That's
their
good
childhood.
as a way of life and a way of living, and that's fantastic. I
And
applaud
not
you
just
for that.
that, but
The
I
fact
can
that
have
you-
something in
yeah.
common with it.
No, and that's brilliant. And I think in the work that you're doing, that's very, very important, and that's respectable. But I'm more interested.
You're trying to
in
find
the
the original religion.
Yeah,
I
so
see.
we're talking more in terms of theology.
Okay.
So in theology, the lady was saying that in their theology, Jesus has, not only do they believe Jesus will come again, but he has come.
Yes.
He has passed away.
Yeah.
His wife is still there.
Yes.
They're both in Korea. So my initial question was that how many followers?
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
How many followers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
how many followers? Because I can tell you, here in the West, or even when I go to the Middle East, or even Pakistan, we've never heard of a Korean Jesus. The only time I've heard of a Korean Jesus in a movie called 22 Jump Street, and Ice Cube is making a joke because they're in a church.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've heard of a Korean Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's
It's
why.
quite interesting.
Yeah, that's why when she said that that's our belief, I'm saying, okay, if no one in the Western world, in the Middle East have heard, how many people have actually heard that he came and he left? What impact did he leave? And what contribution? Because we as Muslims believe he will come again, but we believe Jews, Christians and Muslims will unite with him under the banner of oneness of God,
All right.
and that he will have a mass following. A mass following. So I find it interesting that the claim of Jesus already coming and gone, and no one is any the wiser. So I'm saying, what happened with the following? How can I measure this empirically? Check this myself.
Oh,
Who is
right.
the wife? Is she the wife of God, of Jesus, the Son of God?
Okay.
Do you see?
Some empirical parts I can help. So,
Do you believe this, by the way, this theology?
my understanding of it, yes.
Yes.
But I don't know if it's exactly what you said. So, but I'll say my understanding.
In terms of him coming in Korea and dying in Korea.
See, what my understanding is that, because you said empirically, so it's good to be empirical. I
Yes.
like that actually. So this particular couple, they started their own movement, and they had followers, and they were persecuted in North Korea. I think he was put in a concentration camp. for
North
2
Korea,
years.
yeah?
North Korean
Uh-huh.
concentration camp for 2 years. And he survived. This is the story that I know. But fast forward, it took about 40 years, roughly 30, 40 years, to build
This
up
is the family that,
the one that you were talking
the
about.
Jesus one, yeah?
That you were saying
Okay,
Jesus.
quote,
I don't know
unquote.
if I would. That's one way of putting it, but okay.
Okay, good.
But I wouldn't have said like that. But anyway, so it's okay.
How would you say it then?
So I like that theology of true parents. So but basically, just to get back quickly to empirical.
Sure.
They did start a movement, which was, I think, originally trying to get Christian groups to cooperate. And then it was this, I think, with it. Then actually different religious groups, maybe Muslim in Korea, cooperated. And of North Korea, that was long ago. And then the communists were the main people trying to imprison them and kill them. It was because they didn't like any religion at all.
Right.
So this is the backstory behind it, the background. And then once you get to the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, then they started creating projects for peace, which was what I know about a bit more details, which is the Scientists for Peace, there's Media for Peace. And I think these projects gradually grew bigger and bigger, and they started coalescing different people.
Did he ever make the claim of being the incarnation of Jesus? Was that claim made?
What I've heard is he was saying he made a definition of Messiah to be true parents. And then he said true parents to give rebirth.
So you haven't heard him claim to be Jesus?
What I've heard just a few days ago,
Yeah.
actually funny, I went to his peace meeting, was that they said he was praying and Jesus told him, you didn't finish what I didn't finish, which was trying to make the world the kingdom of heaven. So the fundamentalist Christians persecuted them and said, so you're saying you're Jesus. That's what they accused him of, actually. And then they got the communists to imprison him for 2 years and 8 months, and he almost died. But he survived in the concentration camp.
So that was more of an insult that you're claiming this when he wasn't, and
Because-
it's a label that's been attached
Because
to
in the
him.
1940s and 50s, it was easier to do that when there was Korean War, and they were very poor, and they'd been bombed by many people.
So it was an accusation, not a claim he made.
It was a way to isolate a group and persecute them and put them in prison.
So you're saying he didn't claim to be Jesus?
What I heard is he explained his theology that it should have been true parents, Adam and Eve, like we said, and that Jesus came to make the kingdom of heaven.
So do you still believe that he was Jesus?
He received Jesus' mission. He received Jesus' mission.
He received Jesus' mission from Jesus.
Yes.
I think that's closer to the truth now. Okay, we're getting there. So
That's what you believe also, yeah?
he said that Jesus, I prayed to Jesus and he told me. And
Also,
then-
he sees Jesus as God.
What?
He worshipped Jesus. That's what
No,
he prayed
another
to.
reason they persecuted that group is because they said Jesus is not God.
Ah.
They said that God is
Yeah.
God and Jesus. So they got a lot of persecution from traditional Christian groups for being kind of Christian background but saying Jesus is not God.
Right.
So they got a lot of persecution from fundamentalist Christian groups. So I think there was only a very few, there's very rare Christian groups who actually say Jesus is not God. That's very rare actually. Unitarian, so very
Yeah.
rare. So they got a lot of persecution by saying that. And he said, no, he said, No, they said Jesus is man. But they said the mission of Jesus was to bring peace in the world, the mission of Jesus, but he was killed prematurely or whatever you explain, whatever happened. But anyway, we don't have kingdom of heaven for the last 2,000 years. That's a fact, empirical fact. So he was saying that Christian groups don't fight among each other. And then he was saying to the religious groups, don't fight, because what the communists were doing were getting the religions to separate. And then they were picking them off one by one. And in the end, they made a law in North Korea, no religion at all.
Let me ask you a question. Because you said you feel somewhat of an affinity with the spiritual Muslims.
Yeah.
What's preventing you from accepting Islam and identifying as a Muslim?
I don't know if anything is preventing me. Maybe, I don't know if anything's preventing me.
I'm an open
You
book.
made me think.
Yeah.
I don't know if anything's actually preventing me. But what I worried about is people's definitions. People put a label and they say, this is Muslim, or this is Christian, or this is a religion.
What
And
evidence would you require for you to be convinced that this is the correct religion? What's your criteria of evidence? Some people, they're very philosophical. Some people are very empirical.
I mean, for me,
what sort of person are you?
I don't know if I think I'm trying to embody goodness in my life and my family. So I pray, I ask God, I try to do the right thing for myself.
When you say you pray to God,
Mm.
what's your definition of God? Like, is he one? Is he a trinity?
I never say, I always say one, I never say Trinity.
Okay, so you believe that there's one God. You
Yeah.
believe he's powerful, all-hearing, all-seeing. You know the typical characteristics of God. Do
Well,
you-
yes and no. Yeah, I mostly agree with that. God is source of love, source of goodness. But I get sometimes worried when I meet fundamentalists. That's why I was saying the thing about good and evil and the beginning
Yes,
of evil. Because I feel some Christian groups say sometimes it makes it sound like God wanted evil, so that then Jesus can be crucified.
They can talk about that.
I feel a bit worried about that. So I want God to be really good. And I want God to be source of goodness and truth and beauty and all this stuff.
But the point also here is truth is arbitrary. It doesn't care about what we think or our feelings. Truth is truth. And the thing is, truth is something that can be measured empirically, philosophically, rationally, and that, I think, is the crux of the discussion. Indeed, how we then express that, certain religious folk will prioritize certain types of worship of others, and that's, I think, where you are.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, even if we rewind that a little bit and talk a bit about the theology of the matter, I want to understand what your theology is and kind of where you are
I
at
think
the
my
moment.
theology would be something like parents' hearts. So if we grow as a child, first in a family you receive love from parents.
Indeed.
Then your brother and sister you share. Then you have a younger, you have a younger brother or sister.
Oh, it's kicking off.
Yeah, you give more than you receive, so you become more. Then you get to a stage where you can say to somebody, I'll give you all my energy and my time and my love, so you can be a couple. And then you have children, and even the children don't understand, you give them. So I think there's higher and higher levels of...
Family values, the spreading of love and positivity.
So I think
Yeah.
each family could... Sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
No.
I think... So maybe one of the closest things to God's love in the world would be parents' love.
Agreed.
Even the child doesn't understand, even he might punch you, you still give love to your child. So I think that's a very high level. I agree.
So those are parents, and we get that in terms of living our life. But in terms of our relationship with God, parents in the world, I'm saying outside of the world, not contingent on the world.
Yes.
So when it comes to God, you believe that there's one God. Do you
Yes.
believe that God sent a revelation? And what would be
I
the
think
criteria?
so.
What would be the criteria for you to believe that, you know what, this has to be revelation? What are the criteria that you have in your head?
I think I feel God guides me in my life, and I've gone through different circumstances and different...
We're talking about a book that's objectively measurable by people, isn't it? Something that can be tested scientifically. For example, manuscripts, we can test using the points that are measured with primary sources. For example, there are certain
I'm not
prophecies.
too much into the... Because I'm a bit worried that even though 99% you're right, truth is very absolute, but finally, in the very deepest point, the truth is just something coming from God. So it's finally expressing
But that's
the
the
heart
outcome
of God
of
and the
that
love.
truth, isn't it? That
So
you
I
have.
think finally the heart and the love is more important than strict rules and truth. This is what I would say.
And that's fair enough, because one of the reasons